existed for years, but very little has changed. I'm the tool of the government and industry too, for I am destined to rule and regulate you. I might be vile and pernicious, but you can't look away. I make you think I'm delicious with the stuff that I say. I'm the best you can get. Have you guessed me yet? I'm the slime oozing out from your... Take it away, Don Pardo!
You will obey me while I lead you, and eat the garbage that I feed you, until the day that we don't need you. Don't go for help, no one will heed you. Your mind is totally controlled. It has been stuffed into my mold, and you will do as you are told, until the rights to you are sold. Take it away, Frank!
Thing that did happen during the 60s was some music of an unusual or experimental nature did get recorded and did get released. Now look at who the executives were in those companies at those times. Not hip young guys. These were cigar-chomping old guys who looked at the product that came and said, I don't know. Who knows what it is? Record it, stick it out. If it sells, all right. We were better off with those guys than we are now with the supposedly hip young executives. And he's saying, well, we can't take a chance on this because it's just simply, that's not what the kids really want, and I know. You know, and they got that attitude. And the day you get rid of that attitude and get back to, who knows? Take a chance, you know, that entrepreneurial spirit where even if you don't like or understand what the record is that's coming in the door, the person who is in the executive chair may not be the final arbiter of taste of the entire population.
Accomplished musicians active today. Why don't you sit down and write a top 40 hit song sometime?
I could do it if I wanted, but even if I did, the chances of it getting played on a top 40 radio station are not very good.
Why is that?
Because of the attitudes of programmers, and there's a certain political rigmarole that one must go through in order to have a top 40 record, including special types of presents to certain people in the industry. And that's something that I don't wish to be involved in.
You said rock and roll was only for people who were cute at one point. Do you think rock and roll is still for people who are simply cute?
It's more for people who are cute now than it ever was before, because it's virtually impossible to get a record contract if you look, you know, anywhere between normal and ugly. You may play great and sing great, but if you're not cute, you can't get a contract now because it's the world of videos. It's easier to get a contract now if you can't sing and you can't play, but you look good, because they can always hire somebody to sing your song for you. You've seen that happening over and over and over again. Every hit that you hear on the record, on the radio, who's really singing it? Who's doing it? Because the person that you see in the video is dancing and looking good with nice clothes and everything, and it's all fake. There's no question about it. Hell in a handbasket.
Frank, you've given up hope.
The Sykes-Picot arrangement, whatever it was.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's really depressing. If you stop and think about trying to get people to pay attention to what the government is doing or actually taking some personal involvement in it, it's hopeless, because even if you got them to register, they don't know enough about what's going on to make a decision after they've registered. So maybe it's for the best if they don't register.
So how do they become more informed? I mean, do they become a news addict like you? And that news is so skewed anyway.
Well, I'm watching the same skewed news that's available to everybody else. I don't have any kind of secret information that comes filtering into my house. But what I've learned to do over the years is subtract the spin. And so if you flip from channel to channel and see the different ways a story is covered, you can average it out and get some idea of what's going on. And then the fact that certain stories are reported at all is very suspicious. And you learn to spot these, why are they talking about this now?
Let's talk about things on television. CNN. What do you think of CNN?
I started watching CNN when you didn't have to pay for it. Now they're scrambling it and you have to pay to see all this right-wing hogwash they hand you. But CNN started off as a very good idea. You could see news all the time, And then it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it started going more and more and more to the right. And I think that right now, in order to watch CNN and extract news, you have to read between the lines so much and filter out all the speculation that they include in the news stories. I mean, showing the pictures and telling people what happened, cut and dried, that's the news.
Yeah.
But when you force a person who is a participant in the news story to speculate on what it really means, I think that's pushing it, and they stay on that stuff too much.
Now, I've actually seen you on CNN.
Yeah, sure, I've been on there. In fact, they interviewed me the other day. I put a thing in my book about CNN and how I think they've gone down the tubes, and they interviewed me about that, and I told the same thing to them.
Yeah.
But let me give you an example of a CNN technique, okay? Once upon a time, there was a news story that was announced by the anchor like this. Dan Quayle will now be involved more in government policy-making decisions. So what do we see for videotape? Here's George Bush. He's wearing a white shirt, he's got his sleeves rolled up, he's holding a box of popcorn. And he's in a movie theater. And behind him, in the darkness, is Dan Quayle, walking around like a little clone in the background. And right behind George Bush is Dan Aykroyd and Kim Basinger. And obviously they are at the premiere of a movie called My Stepmother is an Alien. Now, this is a Weintraub Entertainment Group film. And Mr. Weintraub and Mr. Bush are friends. I did some research. I found out how this story came about. George called Weintraub and said, "Do you have a movie?" He needed a little promotional thing to stick on the air. This is obviously a plug for a movie, and it's introduced as a story about Dan Quayle. Now that's an abuse of the news, I think.
Yeah.
Another project of yours is called Thingfish, which is about, as I understand it, sexually transmitted disease, particularly amongst homosexuals. I mean, I would say it was AIDS, if you like, which...
Well, in this thing, it's called the mystery disease, but it's quite obvious that it is an AIDS-like disease, and it's been manufactured on purpose, and it's being transmitted on purpose, and the purpose is to rid the planet of certain people. I believe that AIDS, in reality, is not a natural accident. It's not a natural disease that just sort of evolved. Somebody cooked it up. I think that it's something that either escaped from a genetic engineering laboratory or something that was manufactured on purpose in a genetic engineering laboratory to somebody's specifications. I also believe that all the warfare of the future will be conducted with these biological agents, because now that gene splicing is a thing that can be done, it is feasible to consider the preparation of certain diseases which will kill only specific races, nationalities, or people with certain interests. Because you can tailor the disease to attack certain things in certain categories.
But these are very serious allegations, Frank. I mean, what actually makes you believe this? Do you have hard and fast evidence that this is the case, or is it just something that you've theorized?
No, this is just the opinion of an aging buffoon. You know, just think nothing of it.
So, you think that possibly America or any other country in the world could increase its power and its standing internationally by actually utilizing these agents?
Let's look at the world the way it really is. Government is a joke. Governments don't do anything. That's like a cardboard cutout that hides where the real machinery is. The world is a place that does business. The world is run by multinational businesses that mostly sell weapons to each other. Then you have sugar business, oil business, coal business, you know, business. And when the guys who run these things say jump, all governments jump. And it's foolish to consider the possibility of nuclear war because from a business standpoint, it's impractical. It stops all business. So, the way you have to look at it is the chances are much more likely that the sales will continue of missile delivery systems, but what will be in the warheads will not be things that destroy real estate. It's much more practical to think of missiles going someplace and putting out chemicals or microbes that enable the one party to subjugate the other party by controlling its labor force while leaving the buildings intact. So you've subjugated them, and now you got a bonus. You have their machinery, you got this, you got that. And I believe that there's somebody sitting in an office someplace that's working on it, and that's the practical way to do it. You can scream about nuclear war, and you have people running around with signs and stuff like that, but I don't believe there will ever be a nuclear war.
because it's just impractical from a business sense. Meanwhile, the companies that are building delivery systems are making plenty of money, billions of dollars, because the money goes into small arms, delivery systems, medium-sized arms. Their commerce is still going on, and that's why they're alive. That's what they love to do. I'm sure that everybody must know by now, maybe it's a little late for some of you to know, that there is some sort of strange national effort to bring censorship to first the rock and roll industry, then to the video industry, then the National Council of Churches wants to have ratings on normal television programming, and then it'll get to books, and then it'll get to any kind of sign you want to carry around the street, and then you'll all be wearing the same color clothes, and I don't think you're all going to learn how to speak Chinese, but I think that they all want you to sort of worship the same God. I believe that most people in the United States are smart enough to realize that if a parent does not want their children to hear objectionable material, they have many alternatives. 1, don't buy a record at all. 2, shop in the children's section. Get your 8 or 9-year-old child a Smurf record or something like that. 3, buy instrumental music. Have you ever thought of letting your children hear jazz or classical music? What I suspect is that because rock and roll music reaches so many different people, and it does reach them on a repetitive level, and it does form an important part of their life, if you can control that medium, you are going to be able to control the ideas which go out to those young people. And there are some people who don't want to have young people thinking too much, because you got to keep them really stupid to buy certain products. You got to keep them really stupid to buy certain products. You got to keep them really stupid to buy certain products.
All right, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed that video. I just wanted to come in at the end and, you know, just kind of talk about how, you know, this video, it relates to today's time, and how basically trap music and drill music has basically just taken over the airwaves, right? And I say that because it's the same way that, you know, how he talks about how they use rock and roll to grab the children and to grab the young minds, and how, you know, you basically have to be young and dumb to accept the same, you know, the same marketed kind of music to you. And it's such a repetitive kind of style of music, like how he said rock music was very repetitive to the kids. It's the same as trap and drill music. It's all repetitive. It's all, you know, it's all easily placed in your subconscious, and it's just, it's dumbed down. It's basically music, you know, that kind of just activates that, you know, that lower vibration. It keeps you living in the same state of mind, you know. It's all added to one end game, and that's basically to just keep you distracted, to keep you living at the lowest level within yourself. So that's why, you know, if y'all were on my first channel, you remember this video. It was I did the video on Frank Zappa on my first channel, you know, so I definitely had to bring it back around just because it relates. It's good to go back and see, you know, how the industry operated even back with rock music. You know, obviously trap and all that drill music didn't exist back then, so that was the form of grabbing the kids, because that was like the biggest style of music back then, you know, was rock and roll. And it's the same way today. So it's good to go back and to see, you know, just how this all started, and to see that the agenda never changes. It's always after the kids. It's always after the young minds. So, you know, I thought it was just good to be aware of that, and to bring this video back to Patreon. So it's, you know, this is just me still trying to get videos back from the old channel, because I know I got a lot of new Patreons from my new YouTube channel that haven't seen a lot of these videos. So I'm gonna try to get, you know, as many as I can back posted here on Patreon. And y'all already know we got new content on the way as well for Patreon. So y'all already know I really appreciate y'all's support. So yeah, this is just me getting this back up for the ones that may have not have seen it. I hope y'all enjoyed that video, man. And with that being said, I'm gonna leave it right here. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. And yeah, man, so it's Black Balloon, and I'm gonna see y'all soon. I'm out.